Hi, my name is Michelle Elson Rosa, and this is my final project for food service management. First off, I wanted to tell everyone congrats on finishing the quarter. I hope you're all starting to relax and enjoy your holiday breaks, and happy holidays as well. For my interview, I spoke to Nash Calihan, who is the working owner of Calihan Catering. My interview was a great experience. I actually started working at Calihan Catering in September as a prep cook. My husband and I have a goal to start our own event management company in Omaha, Nebraska after we graduate school. It's where we grew up, and we really want to start both an event company and a farm-to-table catering company. Prior to enrolling at Kendall, I worked in finance and management consulting for 10 years, and I really enrolled in the accelerated program at Kendall to get experience in the industry before we start our own company. Working at Calihan Catering also aligns very well with our long-term goals. When I interviewed with Nash Calihan back in August, two of the primary reasons I took the position was that it seemed like our views on both food and management seemed to align well. During the interview, I got to learn more about Nash's background and also about his management style. Exiting the interview, I'm even more excited to work at the company because Nash Calihan is truly a passionate person who is very passionate about high-end catering and is also a positive and forward-thinking manager. Before I get into the details about our interview, you may be asking yourself, well, what is Calihan Catering? I myself didn't know what the company was until I found the job on Culinary Agents. It's actually located around the corner from Kendall, so it makes going to school and working very convenient. John Calihan founded Calihan Catering over 25 years ago in Chicago. The company emphasizes creative gourmet cuisine, impeccable service, and memorable events. Calihan Catering focuses primarily on gourmet culinary experiences such as intimate dinners, personalized weddings, corporate events, social fundraisers, and contractual dining. A few of their biggest clients include the Lyric Opera House. Calihan currently manages 3 of the restaurants at the Lyric, and they also did the catering for the James Beard Awards last year. Nash and I actually spoke for about an hour and a half during our interview, so given the brevity of the time for the presentation today, I'm really going to focus on the core tenets of Nash's management philosophy and the outcome from that. And if we have extra time, I can go into some of the other things that we talked about. So where I wanted to start, though, is that unlike many managers in the food service industry, Nash Calihan is first and foremost a creative person. He obtained his undergraduate degree in ceramics from Gonzaga University, and he also obtained a master's in ceramics from the Art Institute of Chicago. Interestingly, he doesn't actually have any cooking experience. He started working at Calihan in high school, first answering the phones and fixing the computers, and worked his way up through the management ranks during college and graduate school. I don't think Nash's lack of cooking experience really hinders him at all because he really does know the ins and outs of the company. It is his father's company. He's been involved in it since birth, effectively, and he certainly knows his way around the kitchen. I actually think his background in the fine arts really forms the backbone of his management philosophy and helps him. We discussed in particular how he likes to hire passionate people who have creative backgrounds. He isn't just wedded to hiring, Kendall and CIA grads or Top Chef contestants. He really wants to find the best people that will be good long-term employees. This probably explains why he was willing to hire me, who didn't have any background in the culinary field, but he could see that my, passion towards my former career could lend itself well to Calihan. There's also another example of a person at the company, or who used to work at the company, who was on Top Chef, and she was apparently a terrible employee, so they may have broadened his horizons as well. We discussed how Nash has hired people with backgrounds in literature and fashion before, and how they turned out to be great employees because they could apply their passion and creativity to Calihan's high-end gourmet food aesthetic. So I really think that Nash's perspective gives him the ability to think outside the box and find people who will be great long-term employees for the company. The second tenet of Nash's management philosophy is really influenced by his wife. His wife has worked in human resources at Bain Consulting for several years. She also holds a master's degree in applied psychology. Much of her research and work is based around positive incentives and the alignment of interests with employees. So she really has a great background for helping Nash manage his team at Calihan. At some point in the future, she is anticipated to take over human resources at Calihan, and I really do think that her work has influenced Nash in a positive way because they regularly have pretty intellectual conversations about how best to motivate and incentivize employees. It's also really manifested in Nash's desire to hire the smartest people he can find in the industry. I think this really differentiates him from a lot of managers in food service because he isn't afraid to hire smart people and, in fact, wants really bright people around him. He told me his goal is to actually one day be the least smart person at Calihan and that he likes to hire smart people because he wants to be at the forefront of high-end catering. This quality in particular is really interesting to me because having managers that aren't afraid of hiring people that are smart themselves typically is the sign of a truly great leader. And I think this will really help propel the business forward in the future. The third cornerstone of his management philosophy is really just based around his innate positivity and also how he's pretty cognizant about what he doesn't know. Nash is admittedly a very naturally positive person and is also a happy person. Catering can be extremely stressful at times, and especially in a kitchen where there's a lot going on, I think it's pretty easy to get stressed out. And so I think his positivity can help the team through a lot of difficult situations. I think his just kind of natural perspective also really helps him because he's realized that his experience has been limited to working at Calihan, and he's cognizant of that fact. We discussed how he likes to stay very positive and friendly with industry professionals and how he likes to build good karma points with them so that he can go to them with questions or, to just really discuss what best practices are in the industry. For example, when Calihan catered the James Beard Awards last year, he formed a great friendship with Graham Elliott, and the company subsequently done events with Graham. Nash likes to collaborate with outside chefs to ensure that his team is staying on the cutting edge, and he also wasn't afraid to hire chef consultants when he first took over a management role. I really think these qualities show that he's a humble person who understands both the strengths and limitations of his own experience. Finally, the final cornerstone of his management style is driven by how Calihan is a family-owned business. It's also a business that he grew up in. It's really a rarity today, in my opinion, but Calihan really still does view its employees as family members. We discussed how Calihan employees were at his christening, planned and executed his wedding, and were really included in many of its other key milestone life events. The average tenure of a Calihan employee is over 12 years. I found this to be shocking given how transient I've been led to believe the food service industry is. So 12 years seems, really like a lifetime in my opinion. I think this is really important because every decision at the end of the day that Nash, his father, and the management team makes is rooted into preserving the company culture. He's loyal to his people, and he always speaks in terms of we instead of I. So now we're getting to the point where we're getting close to the end of time. But I did, as one kind of final aside, I did ask Nash to also summarize his own management philosophy, and it really aligned with what I took out of the interview. He told me that he thinks compassion is the first and most important thing to managing people, following by letting people do what they want, even if it means letting them learn something new or take on a new skill. He wants to keep growing with his employees, even if it means them leaving the company. And he also wants to give people the hardest, toughest answer, even though, it might be tough. So in sum, he always really wants to be driven by excellence and really maintain the best culinary team in Chicago. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation, and I'll see you all in January.